Hi guys, morning to you. Right. It's still very early in the morning. It's like 8:30 or something. So I thought I'd get in a live stream on Elvis Presley fan on keto. I always say the same thing. On defending Elvis Presley, we defend. Here we do light-hearted topics and we do the carnivore and the keto diet because we care about your health and we are Elvis fans. I am an Elvis Presley fan on keto. So there's so many topics I could pick. I have thousands. I literally have an endless amount of topics. I'm surrounded by books and I come across new information every day. So this popped up. I've seen it all before, but this has pieced together this YouTube thing that's called Elvis Summer of 56. And I just thought, you know what? I want a nice relaxing morning. I thought, we'll watch it together. Now, it's going to be in more than one part. But I just thought, yeah, come on then. Let's have a look what's going on here. Okay. Let me just get some space here. I got myself a coffee and I'm just going to relax. I'm just trying to find your chat. It's here. Let's have a look. Get the chat app working. Where are we? Can you see the chat, guys? Let's have a look. The chat's there, yeah. Okay. Right, there we go. I can see it now. Okay. So let's press play. We're going to stop and start. Remember, this is a review. We're going to be critical. And we're just going to enjoy it. Okay, so it does say Elvis' first great love affair and the rise to stardom was doomed in 1956 was the year that changed music, and Elvis, an 18-year-old beauty queen, found the lost love with the future king of rock and roll. This is the first-hand story featuring the oldest home movie footage in Elvis's private setting. Okay, sounds like fun. Let's have a listen. I just want to make sure it's loud enough, so I might turn it up a little bit. I think a bit more there, a bit more here, just to get it loud enough. I put my earphones on so it doesn't echo. We don't want it echoing, do we, guys? So I hope you got yourselves a coffee. We're probably going to do this in a few parts, probably 3 or 4 parts. Let's enjoy it. Okay.
Hi, this is Elvis Presley.
I like
He
it.
is the boy that in the last year or so has become the outstanding show business personality in the entire world.
What's your opinion on this rock and roll phase that's going through the country right now?
I'm not going to sit here and say that it's going to last because I don't know.
How old are you, Elvis?
21.
What age
21.
do you think might be the best for you to get married?
Well, I never thought much about it. I have no specific loves, and I'm not engaged. I'm not going steady with nobody or nothing like that.
Love it. Woo! So obviously we've done a lot of stuff on 1956. We've done JUANICO and we've done Anita Wood. I find it all fascinating. So let's just press play.
A see-through lace shirt with his hair all slicked.
Sorry guys.
Could miss him.
Well, out in public, I
All right, that should stop the echoing.
conservative clothes. But on stage, I like them as flashy as you can get them. Because on stage,
Tell you what, I'm so surprised I haven't seen this documentary. I'm like, it looks really good.
your clothes play a very important part.
Wherever Elvis went, there were riots. Young girls were trying to tear him to pieces.
It was in front of the stage where all the cake.
I love that. Wherever Elvis went, young people were trying to tear him to pieces. I bet they were.
Chaos was. Elvis would create it by his movements on stage
Woo!
and interplay with the audience and all.
Singing rhythm and blues really knocks it out. I watch my audience and listen to them, and I know that we're all getting something out of our system. None of us knows what it is.
Do you hear that? We're all getting something out of our system. No one knows what it is. The teenagers, look at them. Millions of them around the world getting something out of their system.
By 1955, A 20-year-old singer named Elvis Presley is hot in the Deep South. Elvis and his backup band played countless one-nighters, promoting their regional hits in places like Abilene, Texas, Leachville, Arkansas, and the Shreveport, Louisiana hayride.
They were splitting the money. Scotty, Bill, and Elvis. He was getting 50, and they were splitting 50, which was 25 apiece. They were booking like $100 a day, $150 a day. Well, then they had to pay me and the car expenses and the hotels and all that out of theirs. And we were driving all over to get that little money.
Can you imagine how exciting their life was? They're just becoming very well known. They're being booked everywhere. The amount of money they were working for in comparison to how things evolved was pennies. Pennies.
I want to thank all my loyal fans who have watched my performances and in that way became friends of mine. I sure appreciate you listening to my records. I'd like to thank all the disc jockeys for playing.
On June 27th, Elvis arrives in the Gulf Coast city of Biloxi, Mississippi for 3 performances. In the audience the first night is 7.
Now, I love this story. JUANICO, 100%, one of my favourite of Elvis's girlfriends. A beautiful woman. Their time in Biloxi on the fishing trip, I think they did 2. First time was Elvis and his entourage, but the second time Gladys and Vernon came along. Elvis really wanted Gladys and Vernon there, and just a beautiful colour footage on YouTube that we've all seen a million times, but we just love that lovely summertime they had in Biloxi.
17-year-old Glenda Manduffy. The next day, Glenda calls her best friend June JUANICO. Glenda is going to see Elvis again, and she wants June to come with her.
I didn't even know who Elvis Presley was, and she called me and he was appearing at the Airman's Club at Keesler Air Force Base in Biloxi. I already had a date. She said, "I'll help cancel your date." He was just the best looking thing I had ever seen in my life.
The best looking thing I'd ever seen in my life. All of Elvis's girlfriends say this. If you get them interviewed, whether it be Linda or Ginger and others, Mindy Miller, they're like, he was the best looking thing ever. Yeah, in real life, he actually looked better in real life.
It really was. And so he took a break from playing. Glenda, my girlfriend, said, let's go over and talk to him. And I said, no, you can go over and talk to him if you want to, Glenda. I'm not going to go talk to him. And she says, well, let's go to the ladies' room. And so we had to pass right by Elvis. And she said, on the way back, let's stop and talk to him. And I don't know why I was playing hard to get or whatever, because we had made eye contact a few times while he was singing. And as we were passing by, he reached through the crowd.
You imagine making eye contact with Elvis Presley. Elvis Presley. And I've read about this many times. He reaches through the crowd. That's the beginning.
And grabbed me by the arm. And he said, where are you going? You're not leaving, are you? And I said, no, I'm going back to my table. He said, well, when I get through playing, how about you stick around for a little while and show me the town? And I said, Biloxi's a real small town. There's nothing to see in Biloxi. And he says, well, show me what there is. We're both looking out at the wall.
I mean, Elvis, I think, if Elvis felt a connection with someone, yeah, doesn't matter how rich they were or, what their background is. He just, this was just a normal person at one of his concerts, a beautiful girl that he noticed from a distance. And if Elvis liked someone, he made his move. I really believe that.
Water and the moon, and he's kissing me on the back of my neck. And then he turned me to face him. And he said, why are you trembling? I was trembling with excitement, So he wanted to know,
trembling with
I
excitement.
learned how to kiss. I said,
oh, look at that. Come on. Kissing Elvis Presley. Isn't that as good as it gets, girls?
I think I'm learning right here from you. Elvis had real soft, full lips.
June gets home at dawn after a night of kissing and talking. She's never been out that late before. As she falls asleep, she wonders if she'll ever see Elvis Presley again. It's May.
You think about it, guys, seriously. You've just had a date with Elvis Presley. If you've just been to one of his concerts, gigs, whatever you call it, there's thousands of people there screaming for Elvis, but he was with you. He picked you out. You were the chosen one. And you've been on a date with him. You've been kissing him. You imagine going home to your parents' home, knowing almost that it had to be a secret at first. I'm amazed by it. I'm amazed that Elvis just chose a completely normal hometown girl.
May 1956. June is working as a car hop and in a beauty salon. Her one night with Elvis is just a fading memory. She can't miss the fact, however, that the handsome singer she met at the airbase just a year before is now quite famous. He has the #1 record in the country and best-selling album. He's already made several network television appearances and even landed a movie deal. June and her friend Marie are on the way to Memphis for a vacation with 3 other girlfriends. Marie's first priority is to find Elvis's new house.
I didn't really know that the reason she wanted to go to Memphis was because Elvis lived in Memphis. So as soon as we got to Memphis, we went to down.
So am I getting this right? She hasn't seen him for a year since the date, and then they now go and try and find him. Since the date, he's become even more famous. He's had a #1 hit. Has he made a movie yet?
The area where Elvis used to buy his clothes at Lansky Brothers, I think is the name of the store. And Marie asked one of the salesmen there what was Elvis's address. He gave her directions, and he said, I'm sure Elvis wouldn't mind you going by to see his house because he's not in town.
Elvis had recently moved himself and his parents into their first real home in a middle-class Memphis neighborhood.
Yeah, so I think people get confused a bit by this because people always assume, right, as soon as Elvis got money, the first thing he did was book Gracelands. But actually, I think this was the first home that Elvis bought. I think because of the crowds outside, it was then decided he needed somewhere that was more closed off, which is why Gracelands was bought. I could be wrong. You guys tell me. I'm pretty sure that Gracelands was the second house that Elvis bought. If I'm wrong, please put me right in the comments.
So we drove over to Audubon Drive, parked out in the front. He was having a pool put in. So I got out, the rest of the girls followed, and I jumped up and was looking over the fence top like this, you know, looking at the pool, and it's a square pool. And the pink Cadillac drives in the driveway, and it was Elvis.
Now, is that the one that he bought his mum? You tell me, guys. Put it in the comments.
And his mother and father. Elvis's cousin had drowned, and Elvis was called home for the funeral. And he walks straight to the fence and picks me up by the waist and puts me on the ground. He said, "What are you doing here, June?" And I was embarrassed, really, to be caught trespassing. And I said, "I'm on vacation with the girls." He had tried to call me when he came back to Biloxi, and I was never home. He wanted to know where we were going and did we have any plans, and we told him that we were going to see a movie that night.
So he must have been quite surprised. You know, she's travelled. She's right there where he lives. Obviously, she's looking for him. It does seem to me at this point that he was really pleased to see her. I haven't watched this documentary, so we're watching this for the first time together. Okay, guys?
And my friend had a hot pink Ford Fairlane car. You couldn't miss it. He found the hot pink car parked at the theater and came on in and sat next to me and held my hand throughout the movie. And I thought that was really sweet.
Elvis asks June to go for a motorcycle ride the next morning.
My first motorcycle ride with Elvis was on Mud Island. And he took me there so he could open up the bike.
And if you guys know where Mud Island is, Deborah might know, because Deborah used to holiday there. Mud Island.
He said, pull your hat down real tight so it don't blow off, and we were just really moving out. And I was just beside myself with excitement, more so than fear. And when we stopped, he was breathing heavy with fear, as opposed to excitement. When I think about it now, that was an insane thing to do, just totally insane.
June sees Elvis every day that week.
Oh, she's beautiful, isn't she? These pictures, I love these pictures.
They quickly discover they love each other's company. At the fairgrounds, Elvis wins a giant panda bear for June, which she promptly names Pelvis.
Guys, do you guys remember going to the fair? I did. I loved the fair when I was like 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Those years, every summer we would go to the fair. It's such special memories. Also, the fair always played the best music. When we went to the fair, you had the rock and roll music playing in the background. I really have special memories of my time going to the fair. I'm sure you guys do as well.
He shows her around Memphis. They swing past Sun Records, the Memphis courts where his family once lived, and Humes High. They visit Dewey Phillips, the first DJ to play Elvis on the radio. Elvis brings June home to meet his parents. They listen to blues records. Gladys Presley shows June how Elvis likes his fried chicken prepared.
Yeah, and if Gladys is showing June how to prepare his food, she likes June. June was a popular one. I actually think that Gladys, from what I hear, really liked June, really liked Anita. These are two standout people that I think Gladys liked.
Elvis gets a long-distance call and asks June if she'd like to fly to Houston with him to pick up his new Cadillac. Gladys asks June how old she is. She doesn't want her son traveling with an underage girl. 18, June replies. It's June's first airplane ride. It's also her first night away from home with a boyfriend. Although booked in separate hotel rooms, they sleep in each other's arms.
There was something about being with Elvis. I just trusted him that he would never do anything to hurt me or anything.
Yeah, and do you hear that? There was something about Elvis. I just trusted him that he would never do anything to hurt me or anything. Come on, girls. Elvis never did anything cruel or horrible to any girl that he ever dated. He was always a gentleman. And like Deborah says, she says he was very gentlemanly. I've never known any girl ever, a girlfriend, a friend, to ever say that Elvis wasn't a perfect gentleman. And you felt safe with Elvis, you felt loved, and you felt like you were the only one. He made you feel special. Elvis just had that charm where he could just make you feel very comfortable.
The next day, Elvis and June drive the new Eldorado back to Memphis, top down.
Wow, she looks great.
After 7 days of being in Memphis, we drove back to Biloxi. The city of Biloxi knew that I had this long date in Memphis.
Could you imagine the whole city of Biloxi knew that June had dated Elvis? And could you imagine how her life changed overnight just because she had this date with Elvis?
Memphis with Elvis. The daily newspaper, the Daily Herald, did an interview with me.
Should we pause it? June remarked that Elvis loves cheeseburgers, club sandwiches, likes his meat burned, adores pinto beans, and dislikes crowds. Elvis doesn't drink any alcohol or beverages. And I don't think Elvis liked alcohol back then.
After we went to Memphis, total strangers wanted to rip my eyes out. You think you're...
Yeah, you could imagine the jealousy that June got. The girl... Sometimes girls can be a bit...
really something, and you're not. You're trash and all this kind of stuff. But you just overlook stuff like that. Elvis said that he had a vacation coming up and he was...
And I feel sorry that she had to go through that, guys.
...going to come and spend it in Biloxi. And so sure enough,
wow, I love this.
The first part of June, Elvis arrived in Biloxi. And I didn't really know when he was coming in. And he told my mother, he said, well, tell June I'm sorry I missed her, but I'm on my way to Florida where I can get some peace and quiet. So me and my girlfriend jump in her car, parked on a hillside that we could see all the traffic leaving Biloxi, so I could stop him. We sat there for a good 2 hours, no sign of Elvis. So when I get back home again, my mother is just frantic. She said, Elvis has called here half a dozen times, wanting to know where you are. And I said, well, I've been trying to stop him from leaving town.
Elvis tells the press he's heading for Florida.
how long you plan to be in Biloxi?
I'm going to Miami, Florida.
But his plan is to stay in Biloxi and spend time with June. Still, he can't get away from fans or reporters. That evening, Elvis and June are reunited at Coco's restaurant. Over dinner, Elvis relates his dilemma to June's mother's boyfriend, Eddie Bellman.
Well, when I first met him, he had to leave the motel down here in Biloxi because of the fact that people found out he was there, and they kept coming by and banging on his door and everything.
He was registered at the Sun and Sand Hotel under the name of Arthur Hooten, one of his buddies' names. That's a real name, Arthur Hooten.
Rarely traveling alone, Elvis has come to Biloxi with Arthur, whose mother once worked with Elvis's mom. Red West, who it's said became Elvis's friend because he once stopped high school football players from giving.
Now, of course, guys, we have strong views about Red West, but I always say this. I do believe Red loved Elvis. I do. I just feel that Red lost his way, took everything way too personally, and made a massive mistake. And I personally think he regretted that book for the rest of his life, even though he was too proud to admit it, too proud to say sorry. But these younger years, 1956, they were proper mates, and we know he's just saying now that Red stopped the bullies picking on Elvis at Humes High School.
Giving Elvis a haircut in the locker room, and Elvis's cousin Gene Smith, who seems to just go where Elvis goes.
So I said, Elvis, I got a couple of houses, and I said, I can let you have one of them. If you and your friends want to stay there, you can come to the house and stay. I said, it's already furnished and all. And he said, I think that would be nice. And I took him in my car so people wouldn't recognize that Cadillac of his.
Meanwhile, the press and the general public and everyone had figured out that he was there.
The first thing you know, the crowd was all around the house, aggravating him. Come on out, Elvis,
I can imagine.
give us your signature. Come on out and sing for us. He was trying to get a little rest and take a nap, and he just couldn't. So he said, Eddie, he said, I guess I'm going to have to go somewhere else.
He rented out family-owned.
I mean, the fans just had a network where they could find Elvis. They always knew where he was.
House, the Hack, H-A-C-K. So he leased the house for the summer.
The luxury home is located a few miles outside of Biloxi in an upscale resort complex known as the Gulf Hills Dude Ranch.
The reason Elvis had so much privacy in Gulf Hills was because it was so easy to get lost, and his house was out of the way. And that's where we would come and go from. Well, the rest of June and July.
Wow, could you imagine spending all of June, all of July with Elvis in the summer, in that beautiful house, and God, 1956, so special. I've only got about 5 more minutes. We're going to come back. We're going to do a part 2 of this as well. I am going to carry on reading. We're going to do a couple more bits on Elvis Presley fan on keto, and then we'll jump over and we'll do some defending Elvis as well.
On July 1st, 1956, Elvis appears live on The Steve Allen Show. On the 4th, his concert in Memphis draws 13,000. The following Monday, Elvis is back in Biloxi, looking forward to spending a vacation with June.
Elvis never did drive slow. Elvis.
Right, I'm going to have to go, guys. So, guys, we'll come back for a part 2. Thanks for joining me. I'll be back for part 2. I have to say a quick goodbye. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.